Santa.
If you've got something to say it to the whole class.
I've gone from quiet to quite angry, haven't I? That wasn't necessarily the intention.
I'm a top hatter. I'll also do your chimneys. I'm just a chimney sweep from Hackney, London.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a thoroughly festive edition of the Neutral Cider Hotel. On this week's show, boy, have we got a great lineup for you. We are going to be going through our news as per usual. We've got a fantastic guest in Martin Berkeley from Pilton Cider, and we will be tasting the wonderful Nempnett Thrubwell. Try and say that after 3 glasses. Before getting on to a fun Christmas quiz. My name is Gabe Cook. I'm the ciderologist, and with a slightly unkempt, fuzzy beard at the moment, and certainly whilst writing the script, I was wearing a red hoodie, maybe not so much now. I did kind of feel and look a little bit like Father Christmas or Santa if you're in the US.
Oh, no. No, don't say that. No.
Martin, you don't like Santa Claus?
Move on, please.
Oh, I've really offended him. I do feel like somewhat like Father Christmas. Is that more to your British sensibilities, Martin?
Yes, okay. Yeah. That is jolly good to me, mate. That's
jolly good. What a hoot. Well done. Felt a bit like Father Christmas just at the exact moment when he decided to let it all hang out and move on from the youthful, brisk, zesty personality to somebody who was permanently wearing elasticated trousers, which I actually have done. But there we go. You know, all good things must come to an end. And joining me in this wonderful festive edition is the chief cider elf himself, Mr. Martin Goodwin-Charmin. How are you? And are you getting excited by Christmas and a visit from Santa and his reindeers?
Yeah, I am, and I hate to be a Krampus, but you missed the perfect fucking opportunity to say the Ho Ho Hotel. So,
I
heard you. I thought you were going to say it, and I was like, oh, he's missed it. And then you went Santa. Hey, Santa.
An entirely legitimate ragging on my missing out of a classic kind of pun, and maybe I'm only programmed for cider pun. Well, maybe I'm all about the cider pun rather than about the festive pun. Maybe I've missed out there. I'm very pun specific, so my apologies. I will self-flagellate myself terribly. I don't know why that's funny. And also joining us on the show, as ever, our dear friend, it's everybody's favourite festive crenellated urolith, Mr. Grant Hutchison. Yay! Sorry, everyone's going to be in it tonight.
No, thank you. I'm happy with that title.
Yeah. I mean, let's move. I mean, we've all been worse. It could be far worse, and probably will be by the end of the show. So,
it's a strong title, I feel.
And applying some emboldened feeling.
If you're gonna put it on me, I'm gonna put a positive spin on it.
Yeah. Can you say for me, Grant, just for argument's sake, can you just say, I, Sir Crenellated Urolith the Third, in your Scottish accent?
I, Sir Crenellated Urolith the Third.
Yes! That's all I wanted for Christmas. There you go. Thank you, man. Powerful.
It's Highlander Part 2. This is amazing.
It's my audition for the History podcast. Just give me a call, guys.
You could be the go-to voiceover guy for anything, culturally Scottish, possibly.
So sorry, no one else saw you do that in inverted commas there.
Yeah, I'm not.
Was that suggesting that culturally Scottish is something non-existent? Or was that what was the suggestion there?
I don't know, and I imminently regret it. Obviously. Look, a badger.
Plug the book.
Right. Yeah, thanks. Oh, God, love you. I insult you, and then you give me a Ciderology by Gabe Cook. a great way to distract somebody when you're accidentally insulting them. So there we go. Apparently, crenulated urolith was the least insulting thing I could have said. So
sorry, Scotland again.
Yeah, I know. Every week you should just start at the top of the show with like some kind of disclaimer.
In other news, Grant, you've had an order in from something a little bit special. Tell us about that.
I got an order. I placed an order with the Cat in the Glass website. I think we spoke about it on a previous episode. Again, so many of them have been binned. I'm not sure if we did, but the Cat in the Glass is a new.
If you won the game, it's binned. Yeah,
it's binned, yeah. So it's a new beer and cider website, the catintheglass.co.uk. Which is based. They're based in Manchester, and the selection is incredible.
Yeah, yes.
I pulled out a couple of bottles to sort of to mention specifically, made by Ablerov, Danish cider makers. So the Danes and the sort of Scandi cider makers seem to be all about their fruit co-ferments and pet nat wines and blending them together. So I've got one called Rainbow Child. Again, amazing labels too.
Yes,
which is so on the back here. Fruit pet nat on a blend of rod aroma apples and pears with a maceration of Solaris and Rondo grapes, dry hopped with Citra and Chinook.
Oh, lovely!
Yeah, I know, eh?
Shit the bed. That sounds amazing.
Unbelievable. Yeah. This one's called Bade and, which is Danish for both one and the other. This mongrel consists of wild fermented cider from organic apples blended with sour mash from War Pigs, which is the McKellar brewery, right? Or bar.
I think it was the Copenhagen brew pub that they had, yeah. So it was like their first kind of like on-site thing.
Yeah, so it's a wild fermented cider with organic apples blended with sour mash from McKellar. Sour lovers rejoice. Nothing else in it.
Have you got any others from them?
Yeah, I do. I got
not to make this a full just list of your cellar, but I picked up their forbidden fruits from Two Belly after Martin from Pilton, who's going to be on the show later. But when he was like, "This is fucking lovely," I was like, "All right, I'm going to get that." But
I think it's sold out.
Yeah. I did the same as well with the Cat in the Glass, and I did it for I think the Cider Critic posted, "This is the best selection I've seen online." So I was like, "Oh, I'll check it out." And they had 3 bottles of Dead Flowers, and I was like, oh, "Okay." So I went on to buy it, and there were 2, and I was like, "Oh, fucking looking quick!" So I got the last 2, and for Ryan of Caledonian, I picked up the Isla cask cider from him as well. So one that it was quite a reserved order for me, simply because I could have spent all of my money on there, and on the run up to Christmas, you can't say, "Sorry, honey, too bad on you. I bought myself 100 ciders."
But you've been doing that for the past year, haven't you? The size of your inventory in your cider cellar is eye-wateringly impressive, isn't it?
Well, you gotta support the industry you love. And speaking of support, what can people do to support the podcast here, Gabe?
It's funny you should say that, Martin. In order for people to support our fantastic podcast is to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts, follow us on Spotify, or listen on your favorite podcast app. Please do support our fantastic show, which we're having a hoot. I keep on saying hoot. I've got to stop. I'm turning into an owl. I'm saying hoot so much. This is not
a hoolet.
That's
what we call them up here.
They call them a what?
A hoolet.
A wee hoolet.
I've been reading the Gruffalo in Scots.
Yes.
God, that sounds amazing.
Amazing. It's so good. The moose took a donor in the deep mirk wood.
That sounds like you're describing what a drunk does on a night out. He's just picked up a donor in the deep woods. He's attacking it. He's got burger sauce on it. He's a wee fucking pissy.
Oh my goodness. How long are we into this? How long into this episode are we? I don't know if Scottish people are still listening now.
Oh,
I was trying to bring us back in.
It's literally just Ryan. All the American listeners are like, their Welsh accents are incredible. They're really, except when they do. It sounds like sad Canadian when they say Sienna. But yeah, I think
Sienna.
Jesus, can we finish this? Jesus.
Okay, I will distract us by just picking up on a little snippet of fun. That a photograph has been. Well, it's not. Can you call it a photograph? How is it described? The longest ever photo exposure has been found on the inside of a can of cider.
No.
So a photo tracking the sun's cycles over more than 8 years, believed to be the longest exposure image ever taken, has been discovered inside a cider can. It shows 2,953 arced trails of the sun as it rose and set through nearly a decade of changing seasons. It was done by a photographer who's a fine art student at the University of Hertfordshire. And she thought she'd do a series of sort of makeshift pinhole cameras by lining, in this case, a cider can with photographic paper. And she put it onto a telescope and then forgot about it. And then it sat there for all these years. And the image is, well, it's pretty cool. And somebody, I hope for the love of all things sweet and holy. There we go. Is that it should be used as a cider label? It looks absolutely. It's a swoosh. It's like a bit of a bell curve. But how cool is that? It doesn't say what cider it is. I suspect it's probably a Strongbow.
I really like that. That you said they forgot about it. That just sounds like the kind of thing I always do. Just set up like loads of pinhole cameras in cider cans.
Forget they're there.
Yeah.
I know that I do with my pinhole cameras, certainly, yeah.
Sorry, did I forget? I'm just laying these around. But no, fuck it. I'll link that in the show notes then. But like you say, the cider maker needs to get on it and get that as a label, because it speaks, as silly as it sounds, it speaks to the season and the nature of cider. It just happens to be from a cider can as well, doesn't it?
It does indeed. So from the sublime to the important, now it's time for the news. Okay, now here it's the news this week. What have we got? Grant, tell me what's happening.
Okay. You sound like you're telling him off like a teacher at the front of the class. She went, "Now it's the news. You there, boy?
You
give me news."
If you've got something to say it to the whole class.
Top of the episode, guaranteed. You there, boy? Tell us the news then. Come on, Grant. Just lean into it.
I've got some great news. Some great news this week, actually, which you probably have seen. Was that Helen Ann Smith, a previous guest on Neutral Cider Hotel, was chosen as the next wayfinder for Cloudwater Brewery. So not particularly related to cider, but a great thing nonetheless for a previous guest. And they'll take over from Lily Waite, who's just completed the first residency. So for anyone who doesn't know about what it is, it's a sort of taking a bit from the Cloudwater statement on it, which says craft beer has developed in a narrow image of its consumer base, largely white, cisgender, heterosexual and male. We believe that the future of craft beer will be shaped by new generations of leaders and dreamers, and with a focus on craft beer as a vehicle for social progression. We are asking for your help in finding our way and have created our Wayfinder role to facilitate this. So they've got a three-month term where they take on someone as a wayfinder. They have a budget of up to £10,000 per term, and and they join the company to produce and direct lasting change work, and it's sort of led by whoever is chosen as the wayfinder in what they want to do. So yeah, I thought that was a good story for Helen Ann Smith of Birham Collective. That
awesome.
they'll be doing that starting next year.
Yeah, I looked at Lily's Twitter, and there was a bit where she was talking about like it was like sporadic and it wasn't as planned, and now it's got like a real focus.
Mm-hmm.
But like we at the pub, we sold the first kegs and that of the Queer Royale that she brewed with Affinity Brew Co. And it was just great to be a part of. One, it fits so well with selling beer that you're just selling beer. It was lovely, and it was just a way that it sounds trivial to most people, but just having queer as an identity in the beer scene and having it prevalent on bars is a huge step. So just seeing that was like phenomenal. So knowing that she's had that kind of backing of Cloudwater, who were rated second best brewery in the world in their like second year by Rate Beer. So it's like fucking huge respect and well done to everyone. And I can't wait to see what Helen does with it, because they're a fucking hurricane of skill. So props to everyone involved.
Bravo. Well said. And they are awesome. And we had a really nice note, didn't we, Martin, and Grant, from Helen, say that they really enjoyed the podcast, that they don't listen to any other podcast with 3 male cis leads. And so the fact that we were able to be attending of their time meant that we're obviously doing something right. So, and as for Lily's also an amazing fan and advocate of cider. She's obviously done pieces in Pellicle before, and I know for a fact she's from Tewkesbury. She's from cider country, and her granddad is from, or grandparents were from Putley, which is where the Big Apple kind of takes place.
Putley.
So
nice.
So there's so many awesome connections to continue to explore. Awesome stuff, guys. There's so much awesome stuff happening, and it just makes me excited, and I know it does for you too. What also makes me excited is what's coming next, which is the interview. And now here at the Neutral Cider Hotel, it's time for our interview. Martin, who are we going to be chatting to this week?
So, checking into Neutral Cider Hotel this week, it's a maker with 10 years in the game, taking the French technique of keeving and bringing it to life in Somerset. He's known for his experiments in cider, from fruit co-ferments to brewery collaborations with industry giants like Wild Beer and Left Handed Giant. He has the most beautiful, progressive packaging in cider, in my opinion. He partnered with Tom Oliver to bring the Cider Salon to the UK, but the standout is his unrivaled passion for fruit and the magic of fermentation. Please welcome the man behind Pilton Cider, Mr. Martin Berkeley.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
How you doing, man?
Good. Hello, lads.
Yeah. So I brought it up then, but like 10 years, like we blended the 10 at your anniversary cider together. But is there any way to sum up 10 years or 10 harvests in cider to the listeners? Like what is that for you?
Well, I guess one of the things that's different with cider making is that a year is one attempt, if you like. So 10 years is only 10 harvests, 10 goes of practicing. So compared to, say, some other activities like beer making, with all the things we like to compare with, where you get to learn from a different experience every time you brew, so you can develop much faster, perhaps. So with cider making, like wine making, you have to try to remember what you did last year to make that thing that you liked. So it definitely takes 10 years to kind of get your edge in a bit and to work out what you're doing or what can be done and what you want to do next.
And how quickly did you how quick did you learn with keeving? Like how many errors were there along the way before you went like, this is ready commercially? Like what was the pre-process?
I guess 10 years really of
We're still waiting for you to go commercially viable.
Me too.
Well,
Me too.
yeah.
Yeah, we're working on it. Yeah.
Oh god. But it also it brings up a question as well. Like, how did you find out about keeving? Why keeving? And why does it work for you in Somerset?
I guess just naivety to start with. We got into cider making like a lot of people as a hobby project, something to do with friends, something that was physical, involving apples. We have lots of apples locally here in Somerset. Very lucky. As I didn't know anything about any type of cider making, keeving seemed like a good place to start because there didn't seem to be many other people doing that. It only occupied a couple of pages in Andrew Lee's book, so it can't be that hard to do. And I guess I was always interested in the sort of marketing challenge of how you present a relatively well-known product in a new way. So by having a different technique applied to it was a good start with that. So that was the start. But of course, once you try to do it on a repeatable basis, you then realize it's a little bit more difficult. But I guess what one advantage that we had was having made the commitment that this is what we're going to do, only this. Then maybe, like I was saying at the beginning, you have many more attempts at practicing it on a larger scale, and you're much more committed. So with most people who try it, it works some years, it doesn't work other years, and that's kind of fine. They make the most of the ones that do work. But because I committed myself to doing that, then they kind of had to make it work. When it didn't, we had to go and find some people who actually knew how to do it.
So Martin mentioned in the intro, it's your love of the fermentation of fruit in general, and I guess he was alluding to the fact that you don't just ferment apples. So why is it that you don't just concentrate on you do keeving, and as you've said, you do it extremely well. Most people fail at several attempts. So why is it that you don't just keeve apple cider and release the same release every year? What is it that keeps you wanting to experiment with different fruits and different methods in those fruits as well? It's a good thing I heard on this very podcast, or Pete Brown talking. You can tell the cider makers who've been to CiderCon and those that haven't. Up until a few years ago, I was only doing keeved cider, and then I went to CiderCon. So come back, and I guess the two main inspirations there. One inspiration was hearing a cider maker there saying, we can do what we want. We can make anything we want in any way. There are no restrictions. So I was initially envious of that. And then I sort of realized, well, actually, maybe we can as well. And then the other big inspiration was seeing what they were doing with fruit there. So I'm only really doing one thing, which is following Big Hill cider. So Troy at Big Hill does this thing with fruit where it's fruit, fresh fruit smashed up and just fermented by itself. So I guess a bit like a natural wine sort of technique. So you're making a fruit wine, and then remembering that we've got this nice sweet keeved cider. So then using that as the sweetening to sweeten the dry fruit. So it's only really one technique, but then applied to different fruits.
Martin, you do a lot of collaborative work with brewers. And I know that you obviously pointed out there's a big difference between cider making and brewing, quite rightly so. But there aren't so many cider makers sort of in a UK perspective anyway who do that work with the brewers. Do you do that with them because you admire and maybe even slightly envy possibly the endless creativity that they have with their sort of production process, or just because you kind of like the people and the attitude and the ethos? What's behind that?
I guess a bit of both. and again, I'm sure has been said here. One of the other differences is that most cider makers are quite isolated geographically. So we're in our cold sheds, whereas the cider makers are in the cities, and they can wander down and see their mate and borrow a spanner or whatever, and then they can chat and end up doing collaborations. So we have to make a bit more of an effort to go and do that, and but we have some good brewers, quite local. But I have had to make an effort to make myself go and knock on the door and say, yes, sorry, I'm the scruffy cider maker. Can I come and chat to you guys?
Can I borrow your spanner?
Indeed.
That's the cider making equivalent of a cup of sugar.
Well, one of the interesting things was I was talking to my label designer back when I used to use a label designer, and who also designs the labels for brewers. And they were saying that a certain local brewer was busily trying to rub wild yeast off leaves to put in their beer. And I was thinking, it's a strange thing to do. Well, I got tanks full of wild yeast. And part of my process is extracting this wild yeast in a sort of concentrated form, which then goes down the drain. So of course I rang up these brewers and said, you wouldn't be interested in some fresh wild yeast? And of course they were there in the next day to take this stuff away, because it's a very precious thing in their well. So that was my entry, I guess, into that into the beer world.
So you mentioned labels when you were talking there, and that's actually the first thing that drew me to Pilton was a screen printed Max Lux label in the Bristol cider shop. I don't know how many years ago now, but a long time ago. So I wondered how important the presentation is to you, and why it's so important.
I've been thinking about this, knowing I was going to come and talk to you guys. I have a friend who runs a garden centre, and they obviously sell plants in the garden centre. But he says,
no. What friend is this?
He's on to a winner there.
This is my point. But he says, no. A garden centre is an experiential sale. People, if they just want plants, they would probably go to the supermarket and get them there. If they come to his garden centre where the plants are possibly a little bit more expensive than they could get somewhere else, they're coming for the whole experience. They want to know about the story, about the people who run the thing. They just see the way it's presented. And I guess cider and our sort of type of drinks are in a similar frame. People are not buying it just because they want something that gets them drunk, because they can get that a lot cheaper at the supermarket. They're not buying it for the price. They're buying it for the story and the experience of maybe something that visually looks nice, but also that's something interesting and has got some depth and story behind it. And that's why I think that's important. And also because it's great fun to do, really. It's fun to have that opportunity to try out different things and see what works.
Well, you can tell from your range as well that I guess the core products, the black label with the logo, you've got that core style, but over the years you've got more adventurous with the printing techniques as well. But what goes into it on your end now? Of like, you say you've two questions. What goes into it of making the product? Like, how do you come up with the recipe? And then how do you decide, this is how I'm going to represent it? Example, like Smoky Plum 2, that was originally with Wild Beer's design, the first iteration. And then the second one is essentially crazy pop art. Like, how do you go from one to the other?
I guess just different experiences, really. I did some tasting in a really nice bar in Bristol that Gabe will remember. It was, or in fact, you will probably remember as well, Martin. At the end of first cider salon, that was sort of the after party bar, place called Bar Buvette, which is all sort of natural wine, fantastic little cozy bar, little small plates and things. And I did a tasting in there on which, of course, nobody was interested in. But I was standing in this bar for a very long time, and they had all over the wall was this huge collection of natural wine bottles, or empty bottles with these crazy, crazy labels, most of them hand-drawn. So you could see that these people had just had great fun creating these labels, and it was, they weren't taking it too seriously. They were just enjoying the experience. So again, initially I was envious, thinking, well, that's kind of cool. I've got to try and stick to this corporate image that I've paid some money for, and I should be sticking to that. And then I guess initially just with some products, and then with a few more, you think, well, let's try and have some fun and see where that goes. So that particular one started off as I can't quite remember how the idea of the arm, but it was just a photograph of my arm that ended up as a screen print, and then that's how the pop art thing came in, because that's sort of screen print techniques.
Yeah. Well, the visually arresting one, the first one that caught me, I was like, fuck, this is where cider needs to be, was Pom Pom, because that color, the graphic design against the bottle as well. I know it sounds silly, but it's not good enough to essentially have a good label. It's the contrast of the packaging. So Pom Pom with that like golden hue of the liquid that matched the circles. But the question I'm going to ask is, like, quince seems now like, oh yeah, it links to cider quite well, but how the fuck did you get that into English cider? Like, what were the steps of using quince in a fermentation?
Well, you need to read my little article in the Graftwood magazine, little story.
Nice plug.
So again, it's all down to it's all ideas stolen from other people. And I went to the US and ended up in a bar called the Owl Farm Bar in Brooklyn. You should go and check it out. It's sort of cool craft beer bar, I guess, but it's sort of a place where you go in and there's massive blackboards, and if you go in with the right people, he knows to ask the barman for the bottle list, which is then 20 pages long of all these big bottles. So I was with a guy who knew all this sort of stuff, one of the top guys in US, Dan Pucci, who used to run Wassail, the cider restaurant in the US, in New York, which isn't there anymore. But anyway, so at some point in that evening, we were drinking a bottle of quince cider, which was the main sort of thing that I remember from that occasion. So when I came back to the UK and after a bit of searching, was lucky enough to find somebody who had been growing quince without anyone silly enough to buy them before. So it was, good opportunity.
Well, I know James, Little Pomona as well, wrote in his latest post about the Do It Puritan one, where saying it all started with you, the crazy genius, bringing the quince. So it's good. It links to the collaborative nature of it as well. But do you think that cider is more collaborative now, or do you think there are more voices than there were, say, 5 years ago? Like, how does the scene seem to you 10 years in?
Well, for me, it's been a great benefit to me just that the last 3 years, 4 years maybe, starting to work with other cider makers. Maybe there's a different thing going on between Somerset and the three counties, perhaps, whereas perhaps we have a slightly bigger organisation with the SWECA, Southwest of England Cider Makers Association, whereas more of the big bottle stuff was happening in Herefordshire. So for me, it was just starting to work with Tom Oliver and James at Pomona and Albert at Ross on Wye, that opened it up, and suddenly realised that we weren't alone. And in fact, what was even more exciting was that if we got together and put on a party like Cider Salon, that all the other people would emerge from the woodwork of cider, and we could all look at each other and go, "Wow, there's more than two of us. We hadn't realised." And in fact, we're all making cool stuff, and wow, now we've got something going on. So yeah, that was I think for me that's been a big thing, to then feel you're part of something, even if you're in your own cold shed by yourself, that there is something else out there.
So the Cider Salon is something that you and Pilton Cider have become a bit synonymous with, obviously linking it with Tom Oliver to bring it to Bristol and create this event and this kind of vibe and thing happening in Bristol normally under normal circumstances during June. Tell us a little bit about how it started and what's at the heart of it, and why it is possibly the most exciting thing happening in UK cider right now.
Well, again, I think it's a bit like a house party. If you remember what those were.
Long ago.
So if you have a good house party, so before you organise a house party, you're always sort of worried about what music to play and what drinks to get and all this sort of stuff. And none of that really matters. It's all about the people that are there. So I just sort of organise the thing, put it on, print the posters, do that sort of stuff. Tom is the creative director, if you like. The sort of he sets the tone of how it's got to feel. So not quite enough time and not quite enough space. So everyone's crammed in, and it's super exciting. So that's which kind of works, and we love it when people complain it's not long enough and there's not enough space, because it means that's being achieved. And Gabe is there to make it all run smoothly on the day and sort of bring it all to order. And Martin is the life and soul of the party and sort of the crazy element in the corner, or maybe in the middle of the room,
in the toilets. And
then you have you have everybody else there, and it all sort of kicks off. But it's all about having that sort of feeling of a movement and stuff actually happening. So it started really by a feeling that we needed to take back the agenda, really. Local cider makers in Somerset with advertising on the side of a bus saying, "This is what cider tastes like." And so it made me think, well, good for them for saying that, spent a lot of money doing that, and all we're doing is moaning that, we don't like that fact, but we're not actually doing anything back to try and take that agenda back again. So that's why it was a crazy idea. Why don't we get a room and have a cider festival in a room, but only have 75 cl bottles allowed? That would be, wow, that would be completely unheard of before. And we didn't even imagine that it would have that effect, that would then become such a thing. It was, so the usual idea of cider being just a little sort of token thing in the corner of a beer festival, or the expensive cider in the corner with all the bag-in-box filling the room. So we had 75 cl only, and we had one token beer producer there just to get our own back on that. So it was
Martin, is there another cider maker either in the UK or potentially abroad as well? I know obviously you've visited the US a few times. Somebody else that you think is trailblazing, doing something really fun, creative, that is pushing the boundaries, that is really helping to sort of change the narrative on cider for the better?
Oh, you've put me on the spot there. That's a bit unfair, isn't it? Well,
did you not research these questions before? We did give you a full printout.
Well, we have already recorded this. That was your first.
Don't give away the magic of me ballsing things up.
Well, I'm quite interested in the Swedish pet nat scene.
Oh, we were talking Scandi earlier on. Yeah.
But so what I think is most interesting in that is how they have deftly relabeled fruit cider as cider fruit pet nat. So it's generally, most of their products is cider with fruit in it, but it doesn't have cider on the label for the same reason that we have a problem with cider, or cider has certain connotations over here. So they've just done that by taking the word off the label to get around it. And it's, some of the liquids are super interesting as well. Grant's just checking there to see if it says cider.
I was like, oh shit, he's right.
The journalistic integrity of Neutral Cider Hotel on show there.
Actually, totally forgot I was on camera. I was like, oh, this guy's talking shit.
I'm not sure it's true, that.
I'm not sure if Grant knows it yet, but he's going to be in charge of the showcasing of the Scandi Fruit Pet Nat fringe event at the salon this year, which could be a thing. You see that?
Yes, mate.
Did not know that, but yes, count me in.
Good. So that's kind of interesting, because that's their own thing, and so that's all of a sudden a new subchapter in Gabe's education manual styles
Look
of
at him
cider.
giving everyone jobs. Look at this.
Yeah,
he's on it.
He's good, isn't he?
Oh
He's
my
good.
God.
He's good.
So I'm thinking. So I was just thinking on the way home. What I need to do is to come on, Martin. We need to blend up a take on the Scandi Fruit Nat product. And what I was thinking could be fun, because what's weird about a lot of the Swedish stuff that you're bringing over, Grant, is it's all written on English on the back. So mine's going to be written in Swedish.
Yes.
For the UK market, only in Swedish. That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Please.
Look how excited he is.
If you need to write on the back, is the cider cold or fizzy?
How is that any less worse than my Santa? Come on.
No, because that's a callback. Your Santa is awful. Mine is to the wise. That has to be called fruit. No, you can't even call it fruit.
Piet.
We have a lot of our Swedish friends listening now, so you have to be careful.
Oh my God!
Quite.
Well,
yeah.
hello to Sweden. Yeah,
Hi, Sweden.
What? So you mentioned the salon. Well, next year. Can you tell us any more about what you've got planned? What might not be happening? Is it happening? I guess is the first question.
Well, the current feeling is it's got to happen in some form or other. So we've booked the whole venue. So rather than just upstairs, so we've got enough of a big space, and it's got a garden. So you can bring your umbrellas, and we'll stand in the garden if we have to. That's all we'll have to do. But at least we can do something. And I think we just have to wait, don't we, to the last minute to see what we're exactly allowed to do. But it's got to involve some cider, even if it can't be the full on cider salon. People crammed in a room that's not quite big enough experience. Then at least we can be doing something to move it on.
Amazing. Martin, I suspect that you might be neck and neck, maybe the most mentioned cider maker on this podcast. And
it's cost me a fortune.
It has. And we are grateful for your...
We're accepting the check, yeah.
Yeah, for your funds, so that we can keep this show on the road. But in all seriousness, your spirit and your pioneering attitude and your willingness to get out there and try things is what we love, and this is what and that translates not just over into an ideal and aesthetic, but to a liquid as well. And even if you have only done it 10 times, you're pretty bloody good at doing it. Apparently, after 10 times, imagine what you're going to be like after 30 times. Yeah, can't wait for that liquid to come out. So I just wanted to say thank you very much for continuing to do what you do. You are making a massive difference to the way that UK cider is moving, and we're really supportive of you. So for anybody who wants to learn more about Pilton cider, to check out your social details or buy stuff, what's the best places to go to?
Yeah, Pilton cider on all the normal channels, as us cool kids say.
You'll find it. Just Pilton cider. There's only one, the one and only.
Yes.
Amazing.
That is cool AF.
You betcha. That's right.
I'll have to go and check what that means, but yeah.
It's really not worth it. Martin, thank you so much for coming to the Neutral Cider Hotel today. We've loved you. We've loved you, and we've loved having you.
Me too. I love you.
I loved you since the moment I met you. That was a confession, Gabe. Freudian slip.
Whoops. And well, there we go. What can we say, Martin? Thank you very much. Have a great Christmas, won't you?
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Yeah. And we look forward to speaking to you, I'm sure, again at some stage in 2021. Cheers, my friend.
Cool. Thank you.
Cheers,
Bye-bye.
man.
Thank you. Bye. And so now it's time for our tasting session this week, and we have got a cider maker that, funnily enough, is one of the stars of the cider salon that Martin Berkeley alluded to in the interview earlier on. Big thanks to Martin once again. So Martin Goodwin Sharman this time. Who are we going to be tasting?
So it's not to be confused with Wildling, like I did on our bottle shop notes in a previous episode. So this is Wilding.
Yeah, that there has been some chat, right?
Yeah. Well, both Sam and Becky have normal arms from memory. But no, you know when you're like, so in the moment, you're like, I'm going to preface this tasting of this gorgeous fine cider. I'm sorry, guys. But no, so I popped down to see Sam when they were pressing, actually, to collect these, because he's just, it's about 20 minutes from me, and their space is stunning. And I got to try some stuff in the tanks and see the orchards, and I actually helped pick some. So there's a picture on the Instagram of Sam by some apples that we picked. So all good. But basically, they're from Chew Magna in North Somerset, and they work with Somerset varieties from orchards that they manage in a careful, organic way. And the fruit is picked always from the ground in the old way, let mature and fully ripen before pressing, and they then ferment gently and slowly with wild yeast. So this is as natural as cider can get. What they've given us today to try is Nempnett Thrubwell, and I'm trying not to say that in a horrible SpongeBob accent, but it's like, I mean, if you were to try find this online from just me saying it, it is Nempnett Thrubwell. So Nempnett Thrubwell. But it's a single orchard selection from Street Farm in the village where it takes its name from, Nempnett Thrubwell. It's an ancestral method sparkling cider from 2019 and hand disgorged in September. The varieties are Frederick, Yarlington Mill, Sweet Coppin, White Close Pippin, and Somerset Red Streak. So, guys, I've bigged it up. Shall we have a see? Have a little taste?
What a treat. Thank you, man. Let's have a go. So, yes.
Oh, I literally just caught the tiniest.
Oh, I mean, Grant, you haven't spilled again, have you?
Yep, everywhere.
Oh,
mate.
G. Well,
no, don't.
I was going to. I was going to say that. You just christened the new house, Grant. That's all it is.
But the carbonation's an interesting one, because the ones I've had from them have either been like the tiniest touch sparkling, or like still and like robust and umptuous, and the tannins are playing there. And like with Somerset and the varieties on this label, it's like what to expect, what to get. And the first thing that leapt out of the glass, I'm not even going to pretend to know how to pronounce it, but do you guys know the specific leather that you use to wipe a car with? It's like
chamois.
Chamois. It smelt like that and herbs. It had like this real like earthy touch, but then like citric herbs. So like bay, thyme.
It's thyme. It's absolutely thyme.
Definitely.
Yeah, you're spot on. Yeah.
So yeah, if you like getting your hands dirty, getting your hands dirty after cleaning the car in the garden.
There's almost a bit of menthol. Like it's so bright and clean. Like it's and I.
Oh fucking hell! But it's so unique. Like that to me is almost like with the, not the same drink, but like the same way as the Thorn Perry from Ross on Wye was so individual. Like. So what would be the variety or the process that's given it that aroma, Gabe? Would you even guess, or is this something new?
It's. I think it's because we've got what's called it's an orchard blend, and these orchards were classically planted up with a range of varieties. Firstly, for coming into fruition, but also with flavor profile. So we've got Frederick, which is I've
never heard of Frederick. Right?
It's a Welsh variety. It's classically a Monmouthshire variety.
Pick a foul.
I'm going to say it's sharp. It's not a bitter sharp. It is a sharp. Obviously, we've got the Yali, which is the big, deep and earthy, but probably not in such a massive proportion in this one. The White Close Pippin, if I remember rightly, again, is a little bit more of a bitter and sort of punchy Bittersweet, I don't know it. I don't know it so well. Sweet Coppin is a full sweet variety, so it hasn't got the tannin, hasn't got huge acidity. It's more fruitiness. It's quite John Gold-esque, actually. So I think it's the fact that we've got a balance of some estery aromatics. We've got some fresh acidity. We've got some volatile phenolics. On the very first thing on the nose, I picked up just the tiniest bit of volatile acidity, like a little bit of vinegary, but I don't wish to be alarmist because it's gone already. It's intertwined into the mix of just massive complexity of this thing.
I was getting a bit of kind of a not unpleasant, I think it's kind of clean, but a sort of metallic.
So leather, vinegar, and metallic. But honestly, loving it. Like, it's a funny one with cider of like trying to explain how it plays when you're tasting it as well. It isn't just like those flavors are there. It's like, are they at the start, middle, end? Like, how does it play with the CO2, the tannin, and everything? And what's interesting is like that the herb, we said thyme there, but it's gotten almost like when you were saying about the menthol character on the taste, it's got that kind of like green apple flesh, but then fennel. Like it's got this like little spice to it, but like that little character that is just everything's gentle, but the carbonation's massive. So it's just throwing these like little pockets and prickles of clean citrus. It's fucking delicious.
They've entered in terms of the description now, a sparkling celebration cider. Have they used that very specifically because they, obviously you can't call it champagne or kind of champagne style, and méthode traditionnelle is too far removed from the esoteric. They've just, maybe they're tapping into the emotion and the occasion rather than the process, which I think is quite a clever thing to be doing. That it is celebratory. It has a really nice. I don't use the word rustic because that's I think could be construed as being derogatory. Rural. I don't know. It's like this is a drink made with a lot of care, a lot of finesse, a lot of class, and a lot of balance. It's not so clean as to have all the edges kind of super sharp. It's nice and soft and bit fuzzy around the edges to introduce extra kind of texture. It's super textural.
Yeah, what I find with carbonation with ciders that have this flavor profile, sometimes that a higher carbonation doesn't work very well for me. But this one absolutely does, I guess, because it does, like you said, Martin, there's just little pockets of everything, and there aren't these big bold tannins that are taking over or high acidity or anything. It's so well balanced that it can handle that carbonation. I find tannins and high carbonation don't tend to mix extremely well.
It's a challenge, yeah, definitely. Well,
totally.
That's I had that with see, I like it, but I had that with Borough Hills sparkling ranges, their bottle conditioned single varieties, where like for me, what I love about cider and those tannic varieties is that staying power. And when you add carbonation to it, you're essentially like fucking boosting it to such a point it's an extreme, and I like that. So when I had that bottle, I was like, fuck, this is throwing like texture intensely around my mouth. But it linking to what you said, Gabe, about that celebration cider, and it's, you don't want to call it rustic, but it is. It's a high quality product of its place, and
yes.
Where they are and what they're able to do with this is beautiful, because all the character of the apples is there, but it's gone past like just, it tastes like green apple with apple skins and orchard, like we were saying before. It's like it's the apple is just there to carry all these beautiful, delicate notes, and the fermentation, like the quality and the craft that's gone into it, is there to amplify those notes as well. It isn't just like, fuck, we've got these, let's do this. You can tell that there's care in it. And to be honest, I can imagine giving my family this and them fucking loving it.
Is there anything that we've said a lot of pros. Is there any, is there anything that could be better or that isn't, is there anything that, I don't think it's hard to say that any cider is a perfect cider. There's a lot good for this, but there must be something that is to say counter it.
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily a con for me, but I've sold drinks in pubs, bottle shops, and what if you've got someone's expectation, there's a chance to let them down. And the thing for me is, this here doesn't taste like what I thought it would, and it doesn't taste cidery. It sounds silly, but there's a lot of people that want cider to be like cider. And like, if you gave them this, they might think it's weird wine. So even though that's what I adore, if you're giving this to, if you're giving this to like, and especially with,
do you think? I think it's pretty cidery. Like.
No, I think the apple character, everything's coming from the apples, but it isn't. This doesn't taste like Somerset cider to me, in the same way that like a lot of people that say they're from Somerset and like cider might like. So my con would be that for getting people onto the sparkling side of things, it might be a challenge. But that's, again, I love it, but that's the only con I can think of. So I'm trying to be negative. If you've popped holes in it already.
What's interesting, I suppose you could almost take that from the other angle, is that if the increasing prevalence of full method traditionnel style ciders being produced in the UK, predominantly being pure dessert apple, and that's super clean, fresh, and being presented as that sparkling celebratory style cider, to come to this cider, which has definitely got more of that wild ferment character and bolder and that earthier bit, then that potentially might be a challenge. Again, the leap from the expectation and the anticipation of what a cider is going to take, or any drink, any food, probably, what you build up in your mind from what you hope or anticipate or you've read versus how it then presents itself to you. If there is a little bit of a difference between them, then sometimes that can be just the challenge in itself. But that's just something that we've all got to overcome by drinking everything in the world.
So your con, Gabe, is nothing's perfect.
Yes, that's right.
And my con is it's not cidery enough for people who are from Somerset. I want to hear Grant's before I summarise the cons here. Come on.
So mine would be the fact that I like their previous ciders having all the varieties on the label, and I think that, as we've discussed, that's a pro for cider language and lexicon, and not doing that this time could be a cop. But again, I'm trying to, it's like I'm trying to find something in it, because it's really, really, really good. And
let me summarize then that the problems with this cider are that it's called Nempnett Thrubwell, which is the throwaway thing, and not called Frederick Yarlington Mill White Coppin, White Close Pippin and Sweet Coppin. It's sparkling. It tastes unlike anything I've had. And what was yours, Gabe? That things aren't perfect. So cons wise,
so all the cons are pros. Is that?
Yes. So what I guess what we're saying is, Sam and Becky, yes, you've got a lot to learn from us experts. It's fucking sublime, and it is. The thing is, celebration cider. This like the same with you. It's Gospel Green you love, isn't it, Grant?
I do, yeah.
But their ciders have that as well, where it's like that elegance. It's apples, it's fermented, it's gorgeous, and it's clean, and it's ready, it's package ready, and it knows what it is. This has that, where it's like a drink that you would just go, like, fuck, Christmas Day. Our Christmas episode, but like Christmas, maybe, New Year's Eve, definitely.
That's totally spot on.
Yeah, I'm with that.
I'm going to say it again. Where would you give this to anyone on their cider journey? Mine would be New Year's Eve.
Good cop out. Well, I say good cop out. It was just a really good answer, because I don't know.
How annoyingly succinct. You know.
I can't tell if this is a sort of more farmy and tannic ciders or post,
Yeah,
I was going to say you would maybe. I was going to say you'd maybe have some sort of Ross on Y ciders and then move on to this. But then I thought, well, actually, is it before that?
Yeah, you might lose the nuance with like the bigger tannins against it.
I know. I don't think it's a starter. It's not a starter for me. It's not one that you go, oh, you've never had cider? Cool, try this. Because I think it like you say, Martin, it could be lost, and that would be a shame. And I think we differ in our thinking of how cidery it is, because I think it is quite cidery. So short answer, I don't know.
That's great. Well done. You've been spending far too much time with me, Grant. That was a great non-answer. Well done.
That was a total Gabe, wasn't it?
I will add this for you. Would you have this as a cider when you move house finally, Grant, and then you're in your nice home and you've unpacked your boxes? Would this be one of those drinks that you'd have then?
Am I celebrating?
Yeah.
Yes, then. Yeah.
Perfect.
I think it sums itself up, doesn't it? Celebration cider. So, have it when you're happy. I tried so hard with that enthusiasm.
Even Scott's laughing.
Wasn't coming out. It just didn't come out.
Have this when you're happy. Oh, beautiful. My face hurts. Gabe, when would you have this cider?
I think this is a cider that you should almost save for a little bit further along your cider journey, because by that point, having tried lots of different things, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, you'll drink it and you'll go, wow, this is a really clever cider, because it brings together an elegance, but also doesn't shirk on any kind of boldness or earthiness or kind of. I think it's just a very cleverly executed cider. And for anybody who's interested in trying to, look, there are ciders that are bigger, there are ciders that are fresher, but this is a smart and an elegant and a really honest representation of a snapshot of a singular orchard in Somerset, presented in a way that is just really cleverly done. So I would say maybe a bit later, because then you'll probably appreciate it a bit more. That New Year's, that's the time. That's it. That's like this is the time.
Yeah. Well, I've got a bottle of Albie Hill that I'll be drinking, and I think I might get one of this as well, because I might have like a nice clean acid one. But it
for
links,
New Year.
Well, just for Tuesday, I don't give a shit anymore. But like, the world's ending. I just want the good things. But with the Derrida and how intense that was, and I mean, everyone heard the insanity that we were going through. Well, I'm trying to spread this across the team. I was having a breakdown, but like I've just compared it to like Albie Hill, and it shows the difference, because Derrida isn't just like Eve's carbonated thing and they're all kind of similar. This has the same clean sensibility to me as that Albie Hill. And I just want to have a night where I have ciders like that, like Once Upon a Tree's offering, and I guess some like what they call again, Brandland, the ice ciders from there. Like I've just curated an evening for myself. Yeah, sorry lads. I'm just gonna have a wonderful cider.
Are we
evening.
invited? Can we come along? Are we?
I guess maybe we should host a digital drink along evening. And I'm throwing it out there. Shall we listeners, if you'd like to have a drink along with us on one evening, let us know and I'll try sort it out. I've just given myself work, haven't I? Fucking hell.
Yep. Yes, you have.
Yes, you have, and we're all grateful for it.
Well, on the point you were talking about, though, should we discuss what we're going to have on Christmas Day?
Oh yes, yes,
shit,
yes.
As a thing now, or as a separate thing, or you just?
I like the moment you've created, Grant. This is intimate, and you've just interrupted. No, yeah, tell us what you're having. Like, do you know? Because I've got a few that I know we're having.
Yeah, so I'm going to have.
I've got to write them down.
Definitely going to have the Egremont Russet Col Fondo from Little Pomona.
Oh yes.
Because it's just so perfect for a sort of celebratory occasion when you're starting kind of early-ish. I'm looking over at them now. I mean, I think we're also going to have the Egremont Russet previous to that.
I'm noticing a trend.
The still, well, yeah. I'm quite, because I don't get to sit and kind of, geek out over the ciders that. Well, I do that every week, don't I? When we sit and chat, but
listeners at home might go, "No, you do."
Yeah, you do. No, I just want to try. I loved the first Egremont Russet I had from Little Pomona, so I'm going to go through those two, and then maybe a Mayflower from Oliver's.
Oh
yeah.
Puts you out, Gabe. What are you having?
I, as the ultimate kind of mega sparkles, indeed, possibly a sparkling celebration cider, Tinston, who Liam Tinston is a small cider maker and winemaker down in. Oh, there she blows, the Anatomy. Very good shout. I'm going to have one of them. And then I have still yet to try the Little Pomona Do It Puritan Perry, which comes from Dimmock, which comes from Dimmock pears. So it'd be nice.
Are
to
you
try
joking?
That. No, it comes from Dimmock pears.
I've had it already, and it's delicious. I know you can go look at cider shit if you want a review, but I'll quickly say I was confused by it being labelled Do It Puritan.
I agree
because that's their experimental line. So I was expecting something insane, but I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I sent James a review of Gold Rush I did years ago, where I said, my dream is to have a perry like this from Tom. And I think it's a perry like that, where it's like Herefordshire, it's wild. The notes of the pear are there, but it's got so much of the ferment and like the time. It's like, it's delicious. It's so good.
See, that's what in comparison to their pet nat perry that from Little Pomona, I think that does fit into Do It Puritan, because it's wilder than that. That pet nat perry's a beautifully delicate aromatic perry, and I feel like the Do It Puritans, I don't know, I do feel like it fits into the shouty face man that's on the front.
Shouty face man.
Unfortunately for me, that's indicative of my life, isn't it? That I'm going, he's quite mild, and you're like, I don't want to hang out with him. Yeah,
not shouting loud enough.
Yeah. Well, I've been caught off guard.
There we go.
But anything else, Gabe? You got? Is it those?
Oh, the only other thing was that I've been sent a bottle, one of only, I think, 20 or something, made by a chap called Tony Lovering, who comes from Halfpenny Green cider in Staffordshire. Tony, very small producer, but he's keen on the experimentation and has the time, the technical ability, and the desire to do lots of crazy experimentation with sort of in-bottle fermentations and disgorging and ice and all sorts of things that nobody else would do. But Tony does have that time and inclination. So it's a wine. It's at 12% with some ice cider and various other sort of experimental things going on.
Hang on. Can I hear a horse in the stables? Is that kicking around there? Is that?
Well, he might have to kick around for a while. Hang on.
He did it. Well, I can say he can talk about him for a little longer, because he did the Disco Nouveau, right? He did a.
Oh yeah,
it's back.
And he finally arrived. Jeez, where have you been, horse?
Yeah.
Where were you?
Just on the ketamine.
Wandering free. That's quite
drooling about in the ketamine.
What was the horse for?
Martin's lost it. Martin has actually lost it.
Martin, come back. Why did the horse have to come out? I don't even know. Martin, come back. We've lost him. Oh, there he is.
No, it wasn't a specific term. It was that you were mentioning like rapid fire, a lot of technical questions.
Oh, sorry.
And I just thought for our listeners at home that are still getting into cider, at least two of you. But I just thought there's got to be some kind of warning here to get them like involved. So like I just a quick summary of say ice cider because you brought that up.
That's very wise and kind, and thank you for thinking of the listeners, Martin, rather than just me selfishly. Ice cider is it's inspired by German ice wines, and whereby you freeze juice or you freeze apples and you squeeze out a super sugar concentrated liquid, which has the potential to ferment to a really, really high alcohol. And it does indeed ferment to sort of 10% or 11 or 12%, but there's still loads of sugar left over. So you get an effective like a dessert wine, a dessert cider. So it's really, really juicy and unctuous. And you could either serve it just as it is, or as in the case of the drink that I've just been talking about, it can be utilized as a sweetener within that, or sometimes you add that and you can use that to re-ferment something as well. And in Tony Lovering's case, he does all and every of that. So this cider is going to be a little bit bonkers, and I'll tell you all about it when we get into the new year.
Yeah. Well, the reason I wanted you to talk about the ice ciders is so that I didn't have to explain it, because on Christmas I've got the Branlin Beldy Boskop 15, the 33 Bricks 2017, the Fat Lagrad Barrique. I'm so sorry, Sweden, for butchering this, but the 2017. And then Borough Hill, Somerset Cider Brandy, they sent me a bottle of ice cider. Once Upon a Tree have sent me the Blenheim Superb and the Wonder Pear 2016. So I've got loads of sweetness, but I think that'll be shared with everyone on the day. But for me, I've got the Bacchus from Once Upon a Tree, which is one of my favorites of this year. And I've got, my wife begged me to get it, the Pilton Gone Forever. We got 2 bottles of that because that kind of cherry liqueurish character, fucking sublime. And for my 30th birthday, Little Pomona gave me a magnum of the 2018 Do It Puritan. So I will be having Umbongo.
2018?
Yes. Yeah.
Whoa.
Wowzers.
That's the one my wife, Hannah, my wife, had it. When we first tried it, she was like, what the fuck is this? And I was looking at her like, that's what I was going to say. So we just sat there going, whoa.
That was amazing.
And weirdly, like, so popular with non-cider, or like maybe not non-cider people, but a lot of my friends who are newer to cider, because I did a tasting on Instagram with James and Susanna of that and encouraged people to buy it beforehand. And a few people did, and they were like, and I thought it would be the challenging one because I hadn't tried it until we opened it for the tasting. And then everyone, I say everyone, like there was hundreds of people, like 2 people text me being like, wow, what was that one? With the yellow label that we had, that was fucking amazing. And it was, to make so I guess we'll maybe say it's a cider, perry and quince cocktail. That you would imagine from that description alone would be something for the geeks, but it definitely wasn't.
Well, that's all of those things work to amplify the fruit. So like the acidity of the quince match with that kind of like little bit elderflowery honeyish character of the pear, and the kind of green apple character make for essentially, it's like pineapple, mango, acid, sugar, sweets, big fruit. It's insane. And the fact that they gave us a magnum, I'm just going to have to leave it outside because it's too big for my bloody fridge.
I know, I was going to say, yeah.
Amazing.
Lovely.
So there we go. That wraps up our tasting session and also our Christmas selection.
Yeah. Well, if you'd like to learn more about Wilding Cider, check out the Pellicles beautiful article on them, which Gabe and I are actually mentioned in, but I'll put that in the show notes.
Okay. Well done, guys.
Yeah. Didn't ask the reach talk, but they're on Instagram. They are at Wilding Cider, and their website is worldwideweb.wildingcider.co.uk.
Thanks, Martin. There we go. That's our cider for this week. Now it's time for a little bit of Christmas fun with the Christmas game show. Wah. So now here at the Neutral Cider Hotel, it's time for my slightly spurious, I'm going to say, Christmas quiz. It's our Christmas show. We're just a few days away. And so I tasked myself with coming up with a wonderfully Christmas-themed game show. And I've delivered a game show with some vague Christmas links. Bear with people.
So non-confident.
Well, hey, look, it is what it is. Apparently, when one does a bit of research, and I did actually do a little bit of research about, the links between Christmas and cider, they're fuck all. There aren't really any at all. So this is just, we're blagging it as per usual. So the rules to this show, there are as many questions as there need to be in order to determine a winner. I am not going to allow me to be set up for that. There are going to be 4 questions. And in turn, Martin and Grant are going to have the go of the question, and the other person, if they don't know or they can't get it right, the other person has the opportunity to steal. Sorry, to steal. Sorry, I had a little bit of a frog in my throat there. So let's, and I get to do some silly voices, which is all good fun, and we're all looking quite silly.
Hang
if
on.
you could see what.
No, silly voices in podcasts are a no. Just a no.
There are no.
Well, it's fine as long as you said with Bumbo.
Swilling the planters with Bumbo, are we?
Nempnett Thrubwell is he?
We've just tasted the throbbing gristle with notes of fennel and apple.
It's time for the news.
Right, here we go. Question number 1, which is going to Martin.
Oh,
it's a long one, so bear with, and I have to do some voices. I'm sorry,
God,
and they're not great.
A fucking long one. It's Gabe's question.
Thank you, Grant.
Is this going to be a yes or no question, Gabe, that takes 5 minutes?
I know, yeah. If he says yes, can I interject with no? Can I steal with a no?
So I've been doing some research for my modish British cider.
Modish Britain cider.
And within the research, I found that apples, in fact, do impart flavour on the cider. So with the... No, I'm taking the piss. I'm really sorry, man. Merry Christmas.
Question number 1. Bastards. Everybody loves a movie at Christmas time. So here we go. So which movie, which is a win for all of the family, does this quote come from? 2 different characters, by the way. We didn't come here for apple juice. This is some of the finest alcoholic cider the money can buy.
Fantastic, Mr. Fox.
It's quite annoying. You didn't even let me get on to Y'all trespass now? Round these parts, people don't take too kindly to cider poachers. I once went to a fancy dress party dressed as the cider poach, as the rat, as the cider rat. Amazing.
That was your impression of it. Who's the cider rat again? It's
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe.
Dafoe, yeah.
We don't take too kindly to cider pots.
Willem Dafoe, if you're listening, I don't care about your track record. I don't care. I love Platoon, but you were average, right? I take you down. Just saying. Well done, Martin. You've got 1 point. Right, Grant. Which classic Christmas decoration has its origins associated with the Christkindl apple from the Alsace region of France?
Classic Christmas decoration.
Classic.
What, like that goes in a tree or?
It's a decoration.
I can't think of a classic decoration.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So on you go, Martin.
Is it? It's Kris Kringle. So is it the orange with the candle in it?
No.
Oh, I thought I had it. I was like, yes, I've got
I
it.
don't even know. I've never even heard of that.
Kris Kringle's like a
No, the orange with the candle.
Yeah, it's like a thing that you put like. Maybe I was pissed in Cornwall.
Is it the wreath?
Is it a Kerno thing?
Nah.
No, Grant, you were along the right route in terms of it being a Christmas tree decoration.
Bauble?
It's a bauble. That the tradition in this part of sort of Central Europe was that you brought these fir trees indoors, and these Christkindl apples were hung off the trees until 1851, when the first glass baubles were placed instead. Right, let's keep things moving on, because there's two more really shit questions to come. Question number 3, Martin. Okay. It's fair to say that alongside a pair of socks, it's very common for a book to be gifted at Christmas time. But in which county is Laurie Lee's classic bucolic tale of life in rural England, Cider with Rosie, set?
Is it in Gloucestershire?
The answer is...
No. Grant can steal it.
Well, unless the answer is Gloucestershire.
Oh,
the answer
maybe?
is Gloucestershire. Indeed, correct.
I was going to say, Gabe, you don't know what you're doing in this game, but seeing as I'm winning, keep on going, baby.
Well, seeing as you've won, you've now won.
No, he hasn't. We are going to continue playing, as you will soon find out. Let's just see what happens next.
I can't believe that.
Grant.
I'm really sorry. I've got to interject. I'm really sorry. I've just made your game way shorter by being right. No. This is horrible.
No, you really haven't. If you be quiet, then you will make it shorter. Grant. Wassail is the US term for a spiced warm cider, a mulled cider. But what is the literal translation of the Old English term wassail?
Be well.
I'm going to give you a point there. It's be whole, be good, be well. Indeed. Bravo. Well done. So, Martin, you have 2 points after this.
Martin, can I just interject? No.
Oh, well, no, go on.
He's going to say how pale I am.
Because you can't see the top of your hat. It looks like you've come dressed as the Karate Kid. And I love it.
Oh, my God. Listeners at home,
we'll get some screenshots.
Daniel, who knew that Martin, Goodwin, Sharman, Daniel LaRusso was so...
the third of his name.
It was into cider. Anyway, so technically, after part 1, this is how I got around it. Part 1 of Gabe's
of course there's parts.
Gabe's great cider quiz. Martin has got 2 points and Grant has got 1. But the part 2 is the really fun bit. And what you've got, so Christmas, here we go. Christmas carols are obviously a really important part of the Christmas story in the UK and in the USA and in indeed other parts of the world as well. What I want you to do is I want you to give me your best Christmas carol title with the best appley cidery pun that you can do, and you'll get an extra point if you sing it as well. And basically, I'm the quiz master, so I can give as many points as I wish to which one I like the most, and that's all down to me. So I'm going to have a swig of cider, and then in 10 seconds' time, I'm going to ask what we've got. Okay. I know, obviously, everybody at home, you can't see the faces of Martin and Grant, but I can, and they're quite contrasting. I'll say. Oh, I've realised what Martin's doing now. He's doing some research on the internet. There we go. Very
Googling.
good.
That's not fair.
Yeah.
Is that very good?
Well, it's entrepreneurial. I might mark him down. It depends on how good it is.
I'm trying to remember any Christmas carols, and my brain is blanked. I can't even remember any. Let alone the punning.
Bad Christian.
Yeah, honestly, I got kicked out of church. What do you want?
Oh yeah, we knew that already, didn't we? So,
Fuck.
This may last a very short time. Well, I'll tell you what, Grant, we'll come to you first of all. Would you like to give us your cidery / appley pun inflected Christmas carol?
It's not really much of a pun, but it does relate back to what we just drank. And the reason is because I read the bottle instead of reading Google. So mine is, I'm dreaming of a white coppin Christmas. I'm dreaming of a white coppin Christmas, just like the ones we used to know. Cider.
That
just put an extra one in there.
I mean, bravo.
Thanks.
Bravo. I will reveal how many points you have scored after we have heard Martin.
Okay, so I was trying to remember actual Christmas carols, and I don't think "Dreaming of a White Christmas" is a carol, is it? It's a pop song. So technically, I've just
stop stalling whilst you still Google.
No,
Christmas
I'm not Googling
puns.
anymore. I thought my problem is that you'll hear it.
Still stalling, and
it doesn't. The apple variety doesn't work, but I'm going to try do it as well as I can. Silent Newtown Pippin. Holy Newtown Pippin.
Go on, go higher.
Molly's bright, like a woody. I can't do any more. Okay, now.
Like a virgin, you just went into Madonna at the end.
Touched for the very first time.
Okay, you win. Fuck it.
No. I think yours. I guess if you listeners at home, if you want, we can do them at the exact same time, so you can hear just discordant troubles.
No, we're not going to do that.
No. So again, I was like, what are Christmas carols? And I just thought of Muppets Christmas carols, and I was like, that's not a Christmas carol.
Well,
that's a film.
But there's, but there's some great tunes in there. No, but there's great tunes in there. Muppets Christmas Carol, great songs.
There's a stair that I sit. Tiny Tim.
I thought that the one I sort of came up with, which I was going to use as an example if you didn't know, but I thought I wouldn't use it because you might go for, which was, "Oh, come, all ye foxwhelp, joyful and tremlets bitter," etc.
Oh, he's just in there. It's as if he is actually a ciderolish. Ciderolish? He's a ciderolish with a published book, The Ciderolish.
Called Ciderology. Do you know what? I've just decided that I'm actually going to win the quiz. I've got 50 points. You don't. No, that's not fair. Well, Martin, you came into the last round with 2 points, Grant with 1. Martin, you scored 38 points in that second round, and Grant, you scored 39, which amazingly means that you scored 50 points as well. We all draw.
50?
Yeah, I don't know. Just like I wasn't really expecting.
38 and 39
so
plus 2.
Oh shit! No, that's 40. Oh
no. Gabe, you've announced it now. Grant, commiserations to both of us. Gabe, you did really well. You got 10 more points than those two.
Yes. You won your own game. Congratulations.
I didn't realize it was literally just slotting in apple varieties into any song. Any Christmas song. Mine was actually it integrated well into the title.
Look at him trying to make this like he's done really well. Grant, no one at home is listening going, yeah, Grant did really well. They're going, these guys need to wrap up.
No one at home is listening. I think you probably should have stopped it.
So there we have it. the results of the amazing or not so amazing Christmas quiz, I win, which is remarkable given that I didn't even know I was playing. But that's often how it goes here at the Neutral Cider Hotel. Well, there we go. This is it for before Christmas. This is our last show, and we hope that you have enjoyed. We've certainly loved having you, our dear listeners, being with us all the way up to Christmas time. Everybody, thank you very much for listening to Neutral Cider Hotel. Merry Christmas to you all. Merry Christmas, one and all.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Grant, please sing us out with "I'm Dreaming of a White Coppin" thing.
I'm dreaming of a white coppin' Christmas, just like the Foxwell we used to know.
Happy
night,
Christmas,
everybody.
everyone.
Happy Christmas from the Neutral Cider Hotel.
Yes! That's cool. Yeah.
There we got it. Cheers, everybody. See you next time. Bye.